Hi guys, welcome back to Educator Dr. Mom TV. Happy New Year! 2020 is here, and I know the first thing that so many people like to do is start those vision boards. Well, today I'm going to share with you the reason that some of your things did not manifest in 2019 and how you can change that to make a more fruitful and realistic vision board this year. Stay tuned. So there are many ways to do a vision board. Most times people will get magazines or they will take markers and make words that are inspiring to them, find pictures that are inspiring to them, and put them on a poster board. I used to do vision boards with my students when I taught high school, and they loved cutting out the pictures in the magazines and just dreaming. One of the things that I found interesting is that a lot of times the pictures were very superficial. They were focused on material things that they wanted, whether that be a computer, whether that be a new car, whether it be a house or a big diamond. They usually focused on those things. And so I noticed that the first year that we were doing vision boards, and I spent a lot of time thinking about how I can change this concept so that, number one, it's more meaningful in terms of what they vision for their future, but also so that it can be more realistic and really goals that they can manifest for their lives. This was the typical board that I would see, and I really wanted to take them beyond that. Another version of a vision board that we often see are beautiful colors and inspirational words without pictures of things that we want to manifest for the coming year. And so I saw a lot of vision boards that had great things on there. And on this board, I just really put some examples of things that a lot of people want to do. Get healthy, travel, get organized, improve relationships, go on an adventure, lots of different things. Sometimes we want to get married on there. Sometimes we say we want to move. Sometimes we want to increase our intellect by reading more books. Lots of things. These are great things that people can have on their vision boards that go beyond those material things. So these things are great. The only thing that sometimes falls flat with vision boards like this is that we don't have action steps that help us to get to that, or it's just a poster, we have it up for a little while, and then we move on and we forget about those things. And so the way that I was able to take the vision boards to the next level with my students to go beyond just having a board of words or a board of pictures is to really put more thought into our goals and to create action steps. And so in doing that, I really wanted to have them create something that they could take with them. And so this was a process that I did for myself first. So I decided that a frame was the best way to go. This is a really inexpensive frame. At the start of the year, Michael's usually has a great sale that's about 40 or 50% off, and so you can get this frame for under $20. And the reason that going with a frame is a great idea is because, number one, you can add it into the aesthetic of your house. You can hang it and make it something that you look at every day. And also, the frame allows for you to be able to write on the glass with a dry erase marker so that you can track your progress, so that you can add mini goals underneath your big goals, and you can develop it a little bit further. And so the first thing that I do is just add just a colored paper background so that when I'm writing on the glass, it has something to stand on. And so these are just small little pieces of paper that I also grabbed at Michael's that I think were like 50 cents a sheet. So I just grabbed 4 of them, and then I just kind of tape them together so that I have a base for my pictures and my goals that I'm going to add to the other side. So once I tape the paper together so that it's sticking and I can make it a one solid sheet. I flip it over and I start with my list. And so for me, setting goals starts way before you get to this process. And so creating realistic goals really requires some time and some thought. And so before I get to the board assembly, I spend some time going over what I want to accomplish for the year. And I really try to narrow it down. I think sometimes we could just get overwhelmed with the things that we want to do, and it's so much that we can't accomplish anything. And so for me, I like to narrow it down to 3 or 4 things that I can work on. And so for the purpose of the video, I just came up with 3 goals that I know a lot of people want to accomplish in their life, and I'm just going to give you an example of the steps and the process to go through it in order to accomplish it. And so one of the goals that I had on my sheet was to save more money to buy a house. And so after I identify what my goal is, then I go to the magazine and I try to find a picture that inspires me. I'm going to find a home that inspires me. Maybe I'm going to find a picture of money that is a reminder for me. Something that could be a visual cue for me every day when I look at it, something that can inspire me. Another goal that many of us want to work on for the new year is getting healthy. And so for this particular goal, I was able to find just a phrase. And so it doesn't always have to be a picture that inspires you. It can be a saying, it can be a quote, anything that speaks to you. And so for this one, I just found something that was speaking about women who went out of their way to get healthy and they dropped half of their dress size. And so those words I picked out. Another goal I think that so many of us want to work on is reducing our stress. And so there was an article that spoke about reducing stress. And so those are just the top 3 goals that I picked as examples. I also just had these letters and I picked the word focus. I think that having something that that will really grab your attention and remind you on how you should stick to something is going to be helpful. And so I just picked, these are just little stickers that I have that I'm going to add to this list. And so those are my 3 pictures. And from there, I'm going to create those action steps that we talked about so that these goals will manifest a little easier if I'm focused on specific steps. So now it's time to work on the action steps. I think that it's important to actually write out your goal and be very specific. And so sometimes we have a picture, but we are not specific in what we want to accomplish. So the first thing that I recommend doing is being very specific. So the first thing that I wrote was to improve health. The second thing that I wrote to be specific was to save money to buy a home. And then the third thing I wrote was reduce stress. So if you're very specific with what you want to accomplish, that's the first step. Then you can kind of work backwards to figure out how you're going to get there. But you first have to figure out where you want to go. And so after I figure out where I want to go, then I start to give myself specific action steps. The first step that I wrote, for example, with improving health is to schedule my doctor and dentist appointments for the year. The second thing I wrote is to work out 2 to 3 times a week. The third thing would maybe be to lose weight, lose 20 pounds. The third thing, reduce my sugar intake. And then maybe also one more thing would be to increase my water intake. Those are specific steps that I can do to improve my health. And so you do the same thing with each of those goals, right? Specific things that you're going to do. A lot of times we say we want to buy a house and then we don't do anything to work towards that other than look for pictures of houses. Well, there's some things that you have to do in order to accomplish that, like get out of debt, which will require you to maybe go out to dinner a little bit less. Maybe you need to reduce your spending money for the month so that you can roll it into your 20% down payment. being realistic with the things that are going to be required to accomplish the goal is really a valuable part of the process, and something that I had to really drill down with my students when working on vision boards. It's great to have a vision. It's great to say you want to accomplish this, but you really have to be realistic and practical with the steps that you're going to have to accomplish in order to get there. Something that I think all of us can relate to in terms of cutting our stress is to stop procrastinating. Sometimes we put stress on ourselves by putting things off. And so these are just practical steps. The next thing to do after you identify the steps is to put accountable measures in there. And so with not just writing, schedule a doctor and dentist appointment, the next part of that is writing a date. Schedule a doctor and dentist appointment by January 10th. If you're going to say you're working out 2 to 3 times a week, then be specific. On Monday, I'm going to go to the gym. On Tuesday, I'm going to take a Zumba class. On Thursday, I'm going to go swimming. Be specific and have accountable measures in there so that you can determine if you're working towards your goal or not. I'm going to increase my water intake by drinking 2 liters of water a day. That's an easy check-in with yourself at the end of the day. If you don't have 2 empty liter bottles, then you didn't accomplish it. Another reason I like this board is because, as you can see, when I made a mistake or when I wanted to update the goal, I can just easily erase it. And that's why I like these frames, because you can write on them. You can give yourself maybe check marks as you accomplish things. You can update the goals if you need to. So I really like these frames because they're really user-friendly, and you can make this a working board. It's not just something that you do once and then it's over with. It's something that you can use to hold yourself accountable every day. So the last step in the process is anchoring your vision board somewhere in your home where you will see it every day, where it will inspire you and hold you accountable. These are practical ways that you can change your vision board for 2020 that will help you knock your goals out of the park. Be specific. Give yourself measurements so that you can check in with yourself and hold yourself accountable. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope you were inspired, and I hope that 2020 is everything you want it to be. If you found value in this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.